And welcome to the live stream. My name is Lauren, and welcome to the Holistic Flow Collective YouTube channel. Yeah, so this is kind of like something I want to do every week is to come on the channel and talk about mental health and mindfulness things, mental health and mindfulness topics that I feel like don't get talked about enough. So, to introduce myself, hi, my name's Lauren, and I always like to start before like people coming in live, so that I'm not just waiting for people to hop on. But wherever you are, like coming in, if you're watching this on the replay, or if you come in anywhere where I'm talking in the middle of my talking and you're liking what you're hearing, then give this live a thumbs up, please. It definitely helps. And I've been on YouTube for almost 6, 7 years since 2020, almost 6 years because it's 2026. And I originally started like another channel called Holistic Flow for this reason, for more mental health and mindfulness topics. And I also am a meditation teacher, certified meditation teacher, yoga teacher as well. And in that, in my journey to help people become more well in their mind first, and then like let the wellness of your mind trickle out to everything else, like your physical wellness and your you know wellness in relationships and communication with others and relationship with yourself. That was just part of my journey. So now, like, the purpose of this YouTube channel and also these talks are literally to facilitate more communication about topics that I feel like don't get talked about enough with mental health, and how to be more mindful. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit more about productivity and how to be more disciplined with your actions. Also, like throughout the live stream, or if you're watching on a replay and you have a request for a topic that you want me to talk about on one of my live streams, because I'm doing this every single Thursday. So if you have a request for a topic, definitely put it in the comments. And I would love to get requests because it helps me kind of, not think off the top of my head all the time. So today we're going to talk about how to be more disciplined in your brain, in your mind. Everybody needs more discipline, right? I think there's like misconceptions about what discipline means. I think for starters, discipline, like I have a lot of experience with discipline. I feel like I'm very easily disciplined. I'm like a chill person, but also somewhat of a perfectionist. So when it comes to discipline, it kind of comes more natural to me, which I'm thankful for. But I know to other people it doesn't come as natural. So discipline in like how I've become more disciplined is, number one, realize that discipline comes when you set yourself up to have a routine. Like you can't really get a lot of things done if you don't have a routine, because there's no basis or framework for what you're doing. Sorry, I just washed my hair today and it's kind of damp. So the dampness is on my back. So, for example, I couldn't think of an example off the top of my head, sorry. But maybe I will later on. I'll give examples. I'm not good at thinking of examples off the top of my head. One of my favorite things to do is like read self-help books. So I've read books like Atomic Habits, The Slight Edge, productivity books, to hack your brain. How to not, what is that? The Art of Not Giving a F. Books like that. And those books have helped me have a different perspective on discipline, have a better perspective on discipline, and be less hard on myself. I think a lot of people are, it's not that they need more discipline, or it's not that we need more discipline, it's that we need more structure. I'm definitely a person of structure. So, for example, okay, I have a friend, right? She doesn't have any plans for her day when she wakes up. She just allows whatever happens in her day to be her day, and she doesn't really plan anything like the day before or the night before in order to set herself up. So, her days are dictated by what comes up instead of by what she wants to happen in her day, just because her days get so busy and she can get overwhelmed if she puts a lot of things on her to-do list. Me, on the other hand, I have a agenda, like a planner, that in the evening for the day before, I write everything that I need to do, the night before for the next day. And that sets myself up to be more disciplined to get those things done, because I know that I have a system of getting those things done and then putting a check next to those things, because that helps me feel more productive, like I did something that day. So let productivity be a motivating factor for you in terms of getting things done, and give yourself some type of system. It doesn't have to be writing things down, or it doesn't have to be writing them down on paper. I had another friend who used a whiteboard. She had a whiteboard in her living room of her apartment. So every month she had a goal to save up a certain amount of money, and instead of relying on just the apps on her phone to budget her money, because she was trying to stay under a certain spending limit every month, as we all are, she didn't rely on her banking app to budget her money. She every single day wrote down on her whiteboard how much money she spent that day, and also how much money she is saving for the month, and how much money she's able to put into savings because of how much money she spent, how much or how little. And she needed that visual reminder every single day, by writing it down. And writing things down and having a visual is one of the best ways to be disciplined about actually doing it. There's something very intentional and energetic about writing things down, especially if you write it down with something permanent like pen. For example, like another example, I have a journal, and I'm constantly writing down my goals, my visions for the next year. I make a vision board every single year. Mine is up on my wall. But with in terms of journaling, I have witnessed so many instances where, because I wrote something down in my journal and intentionally with pen, and intentionally went back over what I wrote and looked at it, and if it was a goal, I was able to visualize myself there, vividly visualize myself, what it would look like when I attained that goal. Because I use the power of writing things down, and also coupled that with speaking things into existence, I was actually like preparing a path for me to get there, preparing a more clear path, even if I wasn't able to see the path when I first wrote it down. But writing things down is something very energetic about writing something down on paper that you need to get done. Writing it down and then looking at it again, and again and again and again and again. That combination right there is unstoppable. I have actually, in this journal right here, I have a list of 5-year goals that I wrote down back in 2020. Every day for 2 years, every single goal, on that list, I would reread every night before I went to bed. And for every single goal, I would visualize myself attaining that goal. So I'm not gonna read them now because I don't even know what page it's on. I forgot. However, when I did, if I find it, then I'll read them. Okay. What I did was I would read those goals every single evening. And over the course of 2 years, some of these goals were things that I noticed that were no longer in alignment with my path. So some of them I would cross out and I was like, I don't want that anymore. That's fine. However, others of them, because I would read them every single day and think about them every single day, circumstances in my life would start to align with what I said that I wanted. So much so that I wasn't able to see a path for it when I first got it. However, however, I did see a path for it when it happened. And I don't have it in this journal. I think it's in another journal, but I'll give a prime example, like a personal example. It was the year 2025 in February, and I wanted to be a flight attendant at that time. I wanted to have a job as a flight attendant because, and I shouldn't laugh because it was definitely a genuine want. And I was applying to all of these positions, like flight attendant positions, and I told everyone, like my parents, family, and friends, that that's what I wanted. And I think one of the ways that like I kind of crippled myself in that instance is I told a lot of people, and sometimes you don't know like who exactly to tell things to. Some people aren't they shouldn't know all your business, like all your goals and all your dreams. So you shouldn't tell everybody what you want. Only people that you trust. But at that time, I was really out loud with what I wanted, and I was able to connect with other people who were doing the things that I wanted to do and kind of ask some questions and stuff like that. However, I was like just applying to all of these positions as a flight attendant, and I was applying, and it wasn't coming through like for months. So I went back to the drawing board and I wrote down what I wanted my life to look like. And I said, okay, well maybe at this time it's a not yet on, on the flight attendant thing. It's a not yet, but it's not a no. It's just not yet. So when I wrote down what I wanted, I wrote down these things. I wanted to live in a tropical, warm environment. I wanted to have another job, a new job where I can travel with my job and not see the same thing every single day. This is also when I was, living in my parents' house in 2025, in the beginning of 2025. And I just wanted a different scene, a different scenery. And I wanted to move out of the city that I live in, that I grew up in. So I also wrote, I wanted to learn a foreign language. And I wrote, I want a lot of free time. I want a job that allows me a lot of free time. So, and amongst those things, I wrote other things down in the journal. Then, about a month later, so this was February in 2025, like the end of February. And then a month later in March, I was scrolling on Indeed, of all places, and I saw the job title called Teach English in China. Yeah, in China. So at first, I thought that that wasn't a good match for me. But so at first, I scrolled right past it. But every time I would get back on Indeed, that job title popped up again. So after a while, I thought about it and I was thinking, like, this kind of meets some criteria for what I wanted. Maybe like to see different scenes, move out of the country, be able to travel and see different things. So I applied, and then, long story short, I got the job. And in the interview specifically, I remember the interviewer asking me where I want to live. and based upon whether I wanted a warm environment or a cooler environment, which one do I prefer? And they were going to place me, like in the interview, this was a placement agency I got the job through. But they asked me literally, which environment do I prefer, a warm environment or a cold environment? I said a warm environment. And so that's where I got placed. And so a lot of the things that I wrote down in that journal of what I wanted my life to look like in the next year or so became true in less than a year. So I got a new job. I was able to move out of the country and see new things and travel and have more free time, be able to save money and also learn a foreign language. So those are, and also live in a warm tropical environment because that's where I was living in the southern region of China. And I did that for 7 months. And now I'm back in the US. But that just goes to show the power of writing things down when it comes to discipline, in aligning yourself with your goals and the things that you say you want to do. If you write things down and then also focus on whatever you wrote down, it's really difficult to miss the opportunities that are for you. Not just the opportunities, but it's really difficult to not be more motivated. So, yeah. Let's talk next about motivation, like the difference between motivation and drive. Because, okay, so I used to have this friend who always said that they wanted to get into the gym. Now, I'm a very fitness oriented person, and I'm usually not open to having gym buddies because in the gym I'm on my own time and I'm on my own schedule and I like things done my way. I like the gym experience to be particular, very particular for me. So when I was, friends with this person, I would kind of like invite them to the gym because that's how much I cared about them. I wanted them to get into the fitness industry. I wanted them to get into their fitness, and they would always say, whenever I would invite them to the gym, they would always say, I really want to get to the gym today, but I'm so tired. The next day I would ask them, they're like, I really want to get into the gym today on their off day. I really want to into the gym today, but I never get a chance to rest. And this is my off day. I don't want to be working out on my off day. So this person, um, this person then said so the third time I asked them, hey, you want to go to the gym today? They said, I'm not motivated enough to go to the gym. I'll go to the gym when I feel like going to the gym. And I said to them, well, I go to the gym when I don't feel like it. Because if I wait until I feel like it, I'm going to be waiting literally forever because I'm never going to feel like it. Like, even I go to the gym 5 days a week. I work out. I had my degree in exercise physiology when I was in college. That was my major. I've worked at gyms, and right now I work as a stretch therapist. That's like my I really enjoy that job, and I'm also a yoga teacher. So I've been in the fitness industry for years in different occupations, basically. And so even for me, it's difficult to go to the gym. Like, it can be difficult. Like today, I was like, I don't want to go to the gym. I was like, I'm probably gonna take a walk outside instead. But I ended up going to the gym because the I know the effort that I put into it is going to reward me afterwards. Like, it's going to be rewarding. So, but I don't wait until I feel like doing anything. I just do it. So, the thing about discipline is like, if you wait until you feel like it, you're going to be waiting literally forever and you're never going to get anything done. Bulldog fan 181 says, thankful for you, Goddess Lauren. I'm fasting for 2 days now to get my focus back as well. Awesome. Awesome. We love the fasting and listening to, listening to the words that you get from the Lord as you're fasting. And if it's a spiritual fast, then that's great for you. I know some people do fasting for spiritual reasons and fasting for dietary reasons, but I believe all like a fast is always like spiritual, to get your focus back. So praying for you in that journey as well. So yeah, like I would say one of the main things about the how to be more disciplined is it's not about doing things when you feel like doing them. You don't wait. We don't wait to feel motivated to do something. We do it when we make the time to do it. That's another thing too. So let's talk about like the time aspect. And thank you also for your comment. If you have any other comments too or questions, just ask me in the comments. I'll be glad to answer. This is the point of the live streams too, by the way, because once we get in the groove of doing live streams and I'm working on my discipline right now, actually, by the way, because last week was a difficult week for me. So I wanted to go live on Thursday and then I slacked off and I went live on Sunday instead. But at least I went live, But my goal and intention is to do these live streams every single Thursday evening and have these conversations. But what was I saying about the time thing? So yeah, the time we always have time for what we want. So like I know a lot of people's objections to not being disciplined or not doing things to reach a goal is like you don't have enough time. And to that I would say this is my notes. To that I would say let's stop telling ourselves that we don't have time. We all have 24 hours. Some people have more things to do to fill up those 24 hours and other people don't have as many obligations. I'll say some people, we have more obligations than others. Let's just be real. However, we all do have time. So when you're saying that you don't have time, you're consciously choosing to do something else with those hours. So it just shows what we prioritize right now. Whatever is the thing that you spend the most time doing, is what you prioritize the most. So for some of us, that's working. When I was pursuing full-time entrepreneurship at a time like 2 years ago, since then I realized that I don't want full-time entrepreneurship. It's very stressful for me. However, when I was pursuing full-time entrepreneurship, I constantly had to choose between going live on YouTube versus hanging out with my friends one night, or spending all night editing a YouTube video versus, attending this other social thing. It was usually something involving work versus something involving sociability. One thing that I did not compromise on was my health. So I still, at the time, I still 5 days a week moved my body, whether that be yoga, whether that be going to the gym, and balanced that with admin work for my website or operations work or reaching out to potential clients or leads and reaching out to potential partnerships with other people, like other creators. It was it was something that I had to trade different things for, but I also like sacrificed sleep a lot. I did sacrifice a lot of sleep, and sometimes like there's seasons for doing that when you're trying to be more consistent and disciplined. But there has to be like something's got to give at some point. It wasn't sustainable for me, which is why I'm not doing it anymore. When you meditate, do you practice your breath work first? So, yes, I do. I haven't always done breath work when I'm like every time I meditate. So how do I explain? Like Right now, for the past couple of weeks, I actually just started incorporating breath work into my meditation daily. So, yes, I do my breath work practice before my sitting meditation. And also, like, if you're going to do yoga, like moving meditation, or, yoga or stretching and breathing deeply, whatever you want to call it, too. All of these can be literally the same with the same intention as well. But it's also great to do breath work before moving your body, before your yoga practice or before stretching. And I also find that doing breath work before meditation helps me be able to sit more because I'm not feeling as jittery in my body, and I'm not feeling like I just have to do my foot, tap my foot like this because I'm getting tired of sitting, which does still happen to me after like 5 years of meditating consistently. That still happen. I still have a difficult time sitting still. It is a lot of work building a business and the learning process. Yes, it is tons of work. Being an entrepreneur is literally not for the weak at all. It's not for the weak. And when I was chasing full-time entrepreneurship between 2021 and 2024, I think I think it was towards the end of 2024 that I realized I no longer wanted to build a business that big. It was a difficult thing for me to succumb to because I was so used to saying whatever, I'm going to persevere to whatever I said I was going to do. And I'm not going to let when things get difficult, I'm just not going to let difficulties throw me off my path of what I said I'm going to do just because it gets difficult. But then it just felt like every time it felt like I was running on a treadmill. And at first, I was like running at a consistent pace. And then every time I get at a consistent pace, the incline jumps up like five more points, and I'm constantly just there's no break. There's absolutely no break. And when you do take a break, there's a missed opportunity. Or when you do take a break, there is, some money that you left on the table that you missed, that you could have made, but you didn't. And it's difficult. It's really hard. And I commend the people who are building a business in those days when you you're working and giving it 130%, but you still pay yourself nothing. And you have to kind of like put a smile on your face and still perform, especially when you're in a customer service role. The hardest thing about the discipline that it takes to build a business as well is the choose like you have to choose what you're going to sacrifice each and every day in order to put more time towards it. Some days it is hanging out with friends or going to a family event. Other days it's literally sacrificing your time sleeping at night. And then also some days it's sacrificing things that you once paid for that weren't a luxury, that it was just something that you always had in your life, but now you have to unsubscribe to that subscription because you have to put more money into this, or you have to stop going out so much because you have to put more money into this. It's a mental battle, definitely. It literally just happened to me. I started a cleaning business but realized that wasn't what I really wanted. I love architecture, so that's what I'm pursuing. I also feel out of my training. I mean, that's real. Sometimes you start a business And at least you tried it though, right? Sometimes you start a business and you realize when you're in it that this isn't really what you wanted, because building a business is still very glamorized, especially because it can be very simple to start because of AI, and there's so many tools and advancements in technology. It's easy to start, as a matter of fact, but it to sustain it, it's not. It's really not. It takes just as much effort, if not more, especially if you are not social media savvy, which I happen to be. However, when the algorithms change, or when the policies change, when TikTok changes their user agreement policy, or YouTube changes their whatever, and you don't know and you have to keep up with the Joneses, that can also be difficult. And it's very glamorized to be out of your 9 to 5 and a content creator and have the freedom to have your time to yourself. But there's a lot of freedom that's taken away from that as well. Like, if that is the route you're going. But in general, this is still talking about all businesses. Sometimes you have to do it to realize that that's not the type of freedom that you want. Because I agree with you, Bulldog fan 181. Like, I have multiple interests as well. And I started a business about what I'm still interested in: yoga, meditation, mindfulness. And in some ways, I'm still in business. However, when you start a business and run a business off of something that is a passion to you and you're passionate about, because that passion, if that passion is like what you think about when you wake up in the morning, and it's what you think about when you go to bed at night, if you start a business off of that passion and that business becomes something that you absolutely need to keep running in order to pay your bills and keep the lights on, you start to attach that feeling or that association with the thing that you're in business for with struggle. You can start to associate that thing that you're running your business for with a little bit of anxiousness, because those are the things that you're feeling when you're running it. And when you don't have other hobbies behind the scenes that you do to relieve your stress and take some of that energy out and decompress, if that's the only thing that you do, it can really take a toll on you. And that was literally me. And I don't want that. I think there's actually a lot more freedom in having someone else that writes your paycheck for you. I know, crazy, right? But I think there's a lot of freedom in having someone tell you when you clock in and out. I think there's some freedom in that too. Like, when you're an entrepreneur, that's like the most disciplined you have to be, actually. At the same time, how much how much is it worth your peace of mind, losing sleep, losing time with your friends and family, and also going crazy 8 out of 7 days of the week? Yeah, totally. I miss my martial arts training. It helped keep me balanced. Yes, that's great, martial arts training. I took a couple boxing classes recently. It's really fun. So, thanks you all for sticking with me. If you're enjoying this live stream so far, definitely give it a thumbs up. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. And also, what do y'all want to see me talk about next week? I'm going to be going live every single Thursday talking about some mindfulness and mental health topics that I think should be talked about more, such as this one. And in the middle of the topic, we might veer off and caveat into something else, which is always fun and always welcomed. But what do you want to see me talk about in the next live stream? Comment down below. Yes, you make a lot of sense. My dream is to build my own live-in greenhouse, love plants. That sounds beautiful and very green, and it sounds like breathing really easy and really nicely. So keep on writing down that dream and keep on focusing on it. Maybe make a vision board. I talked about this before. I'm not sure if you were on the live when I talked about it during the beginning of the live, but something that I do to help me visualize my goals every single year is so art. Yeah, I can definitely talk about art. These are all my paintings except for that one, but I'm definitely an artist. I also do some drawing too. I have a lot of hobbies and a lot of things that I'm good at. Anyway, so with I totally lost my train of thought. It's okay. I can come back to it. Um, I totally lost my train of thought. But that's okay. That is all right. Next week we'll talk about art. But what about art though? What do you think? Because I could definitely talk about how art and creativity relieve stress, gives you more joy back. And honestly, if you're not like creating any type of art or any type of the vision board, thank you. I could talk about that next week. So let me go ahead and screenshot that so I can remember. Appreciate you. Save the photos. Okay. Appreciate you. I'm definitely going to talk about that next week. All right. Yes, I said about the vision board. So I make a vision board every single year, and I'm not sure how exactly I got into the habit of making vision boards, but I was making vision boards when I was in college. Like when I was 19 and 20 years old, I was making vision boards. I don't know who told me about this. Maybe I read it in a book or something like that. Like I said, I read a lot of self help books. Not a lot, but I read them. So every single year, I make a vision board, and my vision board is on that wall over there. I put it on my wall so that I look at it every single day. So my dad told me this story. I'm going to tell it because I'm sure he doesn't mind me telling all of the internet on it, but it's literally two people on here. So I'll tell y'all a secret. My dad is telling me this story because he's like a motivational speaker and stuff. Like he's super motivational. He said, "The house that we're in right now, he dreamt about this house and he spoke it into existence. He plastered what was it, like $1,000 bill or something like that? It was fake, but it's probably Monopoly money. But anyways, he plastered $1,000 bill on his mirror every single day. So when he gets up, goes into the bathroom, looks in the mirror, there's an $1,000 bill right there. And he, he's always been in real estate. He's always been a real estate agent. So he, maybe it was bigger than that. Let's say it was like $100,000 bill. And every day he's like, someone's gonna write me a check for $100,000. Someone's gonna write me a check for $100,000. And every day he looks at it and looks at it and looks at it. So, he's in real estate, the day that he found out that $100,000 bill was coming into reality, he signed the biggest, he sold the biggest home deal that he'd ever sold, which got, when he was also visualizing that $100,000 bill, he had also a picture of a house right next to that bill. When he signed that deal, him and my mom visualized and conceptualized the house that we live in today, that we've lived in for literally like 21 years. All because every single day he had a vision of this $100,000 bill, and the deal obviously was bigger than $100,000 because the house is at the time they bought it for more than $100,000. But anyways, just having that vision, just having that vision of the bill in the house right beside it, it does something to your brain. Whatever you're looking at every single day, it's kind of like playing a tape recorder in your brain every single day, over and over and over and over again. So there's no way that that image can't be plastered in your mind. Just making things a habit makes you more disciplined. So, and it also, manifestation is real, 100%, 1,000%, a million percent. Manifestation is real. What manifestation is you having a vision of something, not knowing how that thing's going to come about, just you having a vision and believing in that vision and putting emotion behind that belief. And as long as you have emotion behind that belief in that vision, the path will start to reveal itself as you continue to believe and have faith in it. Then in prayer, I'm a total believer in prayer and in an active prayer in my day-to-day life. And with that, anything that you want and can conceptualize in your mind's eye can happen. It can happen and will happen. So, like I said, I have a journal right here that I've been writing in since 2020. And I, throughout the years, I have wrote down a list of 5-year goals that I want to achieve. And some goals I have written down. And those goals, as I look at these goals every single day, when 6 months goes by, maybe, at one point when I first wrote it down, that goal resonates, but now it doesn't resonate anymore. It's not what I want anymore, so I'm just going to cross off the list. But the other goals, right, they're still in alignment with my journey. And now I'm seeing things move and shift in my life, all because I have a vision of where I want to go, even if I can't see how I'm going to get there. Like, just having a clear vision of something can create a pathway for you to be more disciplined in your life. Like, it doesn't take a lot of effort to be disciplined. Yeah. Cool story. And thank you very much. I strongly believe you will be successful in everything you pursue. Appreciate you so much. In Thailand, I became so used to bowing to people. Even though I lived in China, in Thailand, people like bow like this. Thai people are so they're so kind. But anyways, in Thailand they bow like this. In Japan, they kind of like bow with their whole waist and bend at their whole waist. And then in China, they don't really bow. It's too traditional to bow. But anyways, that's why I did that, because I kind of like got used to that. But yeah, thank you. I definitely believe that, you know, there's just some things that I would love to share with the world, with however many people that I can share it with. That's why I have this YouTube channel. Words are powerful. Yes, indeed, they are. They are super powerful. Words, and also, like, as we talked about before, writing things down. And I like to write things down with pen. Making vision boards are powerful. And I know this whole kind of talk is around discipline, but really, as long as you have consistency, I think you will be disciplined. Consistency is key. I practice affirmations, and it still helps me focus on my vision to 100% affirmations. I've never been as much of an affirmations person. I used to always think that affirmations were super, super corny. No offense, because like for some people, yeah, affirmations are it. But for me, I was like, But for me, I was like, every time I would say affirmations, I would use like a affirmations track on YouTube, like a recording, and I would just feel so cheesy doing affirmations. But who's to say I won't do them in the future? Because I used to also think that journaling was really corny. I was like, I'm never doing that. I was like, why would I write down my thoughts? Like, like what? Who am I to be writing down my thoughts? I'm just gonna think it, and that's good enough, you know. But once I started writing down my thoughts, really, I have so many journals filled with things. Um, so yeah, affirmations help with your vision. Um, you know, also let's talk about the people who you hang around. If that doesn't if people can motivate you, they can drive you to do certain things that you wouldn't do on your own terms. I mean, by your own way of thinking, etc., etc. Your thick locks look good as always. Thank you. Today was wash day, so I actually literally just washed my hair today. It's still kind of damp. It's still kind of damp to the touch. Um, yeah, let's talk about definitely like the people around us, because we can't talk about discipline without talking about people around us. Also, thank you all for your comments and your interaction too, because the interactions also like carry the conversation on. Because some live streams, I've been on the live stream, and then like there's no one on the live stream and I'm just talking. And one thing I've learned is I gotta keep talking, because um if I'm literally just like sitting there waiting, you know how like you've gotten on someone's live stream and there's no one on their live stream, and then they're like waiting for someone to get on to start talking, and then you're the one person in there, and then like then you get off because it's like they literally just started the conversation. It's like I literally be in front of a camera talking to myself for real. But at the end of the day, I don't be talking to myself, because I know on the other side somebody's gonna see it. Like, yeah, exactly. We here. I know, you know. That's why I be talking. You know, that's why I keep talking. So, energy is a big part of what moves you. Yes, yes, 100%. Let's talk about it. So, um, you know, when because you are like a sum of the five closest people around you. So, you know, look at the five closest people around you. What they be doing? What do they be doing? Because I used to kind of not see this as such a big thing. As a matter of fact, right? As a matter of fact, I used to feel like within my friend group, and this was around the time when I was maybe 18, 19, 20, like early 20s. I used to feel like I was always kind of like one of the most disciplined friends in the friend group. I always kind of like had the best morals or whatever, the most righteous and stuff like that. Um, and you know, also like got into the least amount of trouble. Like in a friend group, I was always the one friend who, if they dragged me along to a party or whatever, this was in college and whatnot, I would be the one that's always checking up on everybody, making sure nobody's too drunk, nobody's too high, no, everybody's good, nobody got lost, you know what I'm saying? It's like the mother of the group. It was very mothering, to the point where I felt like, because it was okay that I was always around people who, in a way, were, how do I say this in a nice way? Just weren't as like inspirational of people like as I was, or as I wanted to be. And I thought that it's okay because I would even everybody else out. Like it's okay because I would even everybody else out. So the thing is, when you ever bought some strawberries, right? and then 2 weeks or whatever go by, nobody eating the strawberries. They just sit in the fridge, right? What happens with strawberries after 2, 3 weeks? They start getting a little moldy, right? You know what that mold looks like? It looks like fuzzy, it's like green, a little nasty, whatever. And then once the mold gets on one strawberry, it collectively molds all the strawberries around it. You feel me? So, did you know that if you actually buy a pack of strawberries and then they get moldy, right? But then you buy a new pack of strawberries and then take one of the new fresh strawberries and then put that strawberry in the molded strawberry. Do you know that that fresh strawberry is also going to get mold on it even though it's still fresh? Because mold, it kind of like collects within it just spreads on anything that's around it. That's like the people that you hang around. They like mold. Yeah. They're like mold. So, but is it going to be good mold or is it going to be bad mold? Because the people do you hang around, if they're the bad type of mold, that mold is going to get on you whether you feel like you're like them or not, whether you feel like you look up to them or not, whether you feel like they look up to you or not, whether you feel like they need you so that they can have someone to look up to so that they can have a positive influence in their life or not. And it's like it can be, one or two people that maybe you mentor and stuff like that, because I feel like I've been that to other people too. And I also have people that I look up to in my life. I have someone who I consider like a big sister, and I look up to her, right? And there's a lot of things that she's doing in her life that I feel like I could achieve as well. And I think that's it's good to have both of those type of people. But when most of the people around you are people that are lower, I would just say lower energy or lower things that they're doing with their life, they don't want to reach as many heights as you do. Maybe not as emotionally intelligent as you are. And it's a collective of people and they're the closest people to you. It's inevitable that they're going to kind of mold you as well. For me, it was ego, to think I could avoid becoming the very different energy around me. Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you. And I've experienced that firsthand. Sometimes we feel like because we're so strong and grounded within ourselves that we are never going to allow that mold to get on us. And that's valid. But when you look at maybe not so much the habits of other people around you, but the way that they feel about themselves. I think that's the first thing that transfers first, because the reason that people act the way that they act for real is because they feel some type of way about themselves that no one else can fix. And they think a certain way about themselves that is eventually going to rub off on us too. Very true, especially with family. Within the last several years, I had to work on my personality and I realized where I got it from. Yo, that be an eye opener, don't it? Will you see how much alike you are with your parents and with your family? Yup. you be like you be like, whoa. Especially when you kind of set a certain like distance from your parents, if you moved out of your parents' house and came back, or like, you can see your family from afar, whichever family members, if it's brothers, sisters, or like cousins or whatever family is closest to you. And then you're able to see like some tendencies that you have from the people around you. And a lot of times it just happens to be your family just because y'all blood. That's real though. I've had many betrayals, but it's helped me spend more time building and bringing my true version of myself. Now I can read energy very well. If I'm around someone that don't desire to advance or evolve, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And thank you all for commenting as well and keeping a conversation going because that's real too. Um, so like I want to talk about the betrayal thing too because when I started to realize that whenever you put yourself in someone else's shoes, you start to realize everyone at some point can betray you, has the capacity to betray you, and probably will betray you somewhat in your life. With some people, it's more intense of a betrayal, and some of the worst betrayals probably going to be the people the closest to you because people that are further away from you are more acquaintances than friends, or they're not as close as in your family. The betrayal is not going to hurt as much because they don't have as much access to you. But the people who have more access to you have the ability to sting you harder. That's just the way it works. So, this word is going to come up. It's called forgiveness, and this word, like, for a lot of people gets misconstrued as excusing behavior from people, but it's really something that we need for more emotional intelligence. And for me, I realized I have to actually forgive people, which is not excusing their actions, but literally letting go of any grudge that I have against them. That's literally forgiveness. It's letting go of grudges. It's not letting people be a friend again, let them be close to you again. It's literally letting go of a grudge because grudges can hold you back from a lot of things. Grudges can physically have you hurting from trauma that you're continuing to choose to hold. And so I do feel like in order to, like you said, advance or evolve yourself, we have to actually stop holding grudges against people who betray us and realize that everyone everyone has the capacity to betray another person. Think about all the people we've betrayed before too. I've betrayed some people in my life. Some of them I didn't it would be the worst thing that if you like also experience betrayal from someone and also like have experienced being the betrayer, and then God forbid that person pass away, and then you can never have that conversation with that person again because that has happened. That has happened. Do you believe in someone having a strong aura? um yeah, I do. I do. Like, I think, excuse me, I think yeah. My former flaws were being heuristic and contentious. I'm contentious. Heuristic. Oh, I don't know that word. Heuristic. What's that mean? I'm actually currently grieving my past self as the people I've hurt with that personality. But yes, let's talk betrayal. Grieving my past self. That's real too. I remember grieving my past self because I feel like I used to be so innocent until certain things in my life happened. Or honestly, until I made certain choices. But those choices were inevitable to make at the end of the day. And yeah, I remember grieving a time when I was less hurt. Grieving a time when I was less tainted from betrayal of other people. And that's real. That's a real feeling. Forgiveness is literally the part of the heart chakra. Indeed it is. Indeed it is, y'all. So it's official. Next week we're gonna talk about next week. Come back next Thursday because we're gonna talk about heart. Not heart. We're gonna talk about art and how art can be therapeutic. And actually, this is cool because like one of my best friends, she she recently quit her job working in the government to pursue her passion in becoming an art therapist. And I'm so proud of her because I feel like this is part of discipline too. So just like, on the topic too, my mind works. I'm like I be locked in on achieving the goal of the conversation, but I also thank each of you for commenting and your comments too. And also, if you haven't yet, give this live a thumbs up too. And also make sure to come back next week for the topic. But yeah, I was saying like one of my best friends, she had worked a job in the government, and she was really definitely like unhappy with her job. At first, she was happy with the benefits of it and the fact that she would get to have more job security and the benefits, right, and the money. And her job was also paying for her housing, stuff like that. But in the midst of it, she realized that at what cost? You get all those things, but at what cost? And so she was actually in a government contract for 2 years, but broke her contract early. And I remember when she was actually thinking about the stipulations, like before she chose to leave that job, she was thinking so much about the stipulations of in the the repercussions that would come from doing that. And she was like, but I'm tired, like something's got to give because this is just so unfulfilling to me. And I think it takes so much discipline, so much spiritual discipline, and also so much faith to trust a process where you were supposed to be on one path and now you're going to give up a path of security and being taken care of financially and beneficially, and even though monetarily and structurally you're being taken care of because you're in a position that's meant to give you this path of ease, you don't feel easy and you don't feel like you feel super unfulfilled. And I remember that time where she was choosing whether she's going to stay on this path of being financially set and taken care of by her government job, but feeling unfulfilled, or is she going to take the path of, quitting the whole thing, potentially risk having to owe money back to her job because she was under a contract, and risk, the financial loss of this, giving this up, but choosing the act of like fulfillment within herself. Because like sometimes, and this is where like the discipline to be able to listen to yourself and what your heart is saying inside really matters. Because I feel like we're in an age where a lot of people are waking up to the fact that we're not fulfilled. We're choosing the path of like, okay, leaving your 9 to 5 if it's super unfulfilling, or if you just hate it, you literally just dread going to work. But you're choosing a path where maybe you have to go back to your parents' house, or you have to sacrifice a lot financially, or you have to give up something that you had as a luxury that once isn't a luxury anymore, and you have to go down a path of uncertainty in order to feel more fulfilled, feel more alive, and live for yourself too. So in that, I think there's a lot of like the aspects of discipline, the fact that also, because I went through something very similar with my previous job actually. Sometimes on the topic of betrayal, you will the best thing the best thing for you to do involves inconveniencing others. Sometimes we choose being uncomfortable and prolonging our discomfort because we don't want to inconvenience others. We don't want to leave others hanging, but we know we're uncomfortable and we know we're unfulfilled in the position. So I don't know. I just had that on my mind to say because I feel like in the age of the horse, where the year of the horse, we are like shifting into a season of rejecting the things that seemed like the right path or the most stable path, but make us feel unfulfilled in order to chase things that are more fulfilled, or not even chase them, but gravitate towards things that are more fulfilling. I also, like on a previous live stream, I actually talked about how to, I forgot what the title of it was, but on the topic of betrayal, I did want to on how to reconcile with people who have done you wrong. And it was back in February. It was back in February. However, I'm happy to do another live stream on that in 2 weeks after the art live stream. So betrayal hurts, but it is an experience with a lesson to learn and grow from. For sure, it does. So, that is pretty much all I have for you all today. What other questions do you all have for me as we near the end of the live stream? Again, thank you all so much for hopping on live stream with me today. Your comments and suggestions definitely keep the conversation going. So I'm so thankful for that. Thank you all for that. So let's see what else I have in my notes actually. Just to round out this topic of like discipline. Do you think reconciliation is necessary to show forgiveness? Um, Reconciliation. I don't really think it's necessary though. I don't think it's necessary because I have, like, for me, I have I have forgiven people. I have forgiven people who I haven't reconciled with because they didn't know that it was a mutual, like, it wasn't a mutual thing, right? Because with some people you can't reconcile because I think it takes two people to reconcile, you know? Some people, they don't, they can never reconcile because they will never admit their wrongs. They'll never admit that they hurt you, and they're not even able to recognize the hurt that they've caused other people. So they don't think that they have any responsibility in reconciliation. I think reconciliation requires cooperation from both sides, and sometimes, unfortunately, we can't have that. So, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, I think that you can, yeah, you definitely can forgive someone without them even knowing. So, yeah, for sure. Thanks for your question, though. Okay, this is about procrastination. Okay, we stress out more than we already should stress. When procrastinating, we add unnecessary stress. It's nice to see that you kept the habit of respectfully saluting, like in Thailand. Yes, y'all. Thailand was so amazing. Thailand is a magical place. If you've never been to Thailand, and if there's ever a chance that you get soon to travel somewhere, the flight also isn't super expensive. Just go to Thailand, and you'll only need maybe like about, well, I can't tell you how much money you'll need because it depends on how long you're staying. But Thailand is just a magical place. You just have to kind of like experience it for yourself. But the kindness of people is unmatched. Once you start to like travel, and honestly, I haven't traveled to many places outside of the Southeast Asia, but I do plan on traveling more. You'll really see America lives in a bubble. If you never leave America and you never really actually immerse yourself in another culture, we're in a bubble. We're in such a freaking bubble. It's so crazy. It is so crazy. I mean, forget the things that are gonna like having government for real, for real. Like, we can make that a big deal, and it is really, really a big deal though. like the world, the what's happening in the world and the world international, geopolitical issues right now are really intense. They're intense. But traveling has made me see that all in all, the things that we think are so dead serious sometimes aren't. In terms of if there's something that you want to do and you're waiting for the world to get better before you do it, just do it. Like, don't wait for things to get better. Don't wait for situations to get better. Just do it. And yeah, I always wanted to travel to Tibet. Yeah, for sure. I actually never thought about traveling to Tibet. It's not a common place that people are like, "Oh, I'm going to travel to Tibet." I actually don't know many things about the culture or the infrastructure, but I actually have a Tibetan singing bowl. It's right there if you can see it. That's my Tibetan singing bowl. I studied in Dallas, Texas, and went back to Belgium, and it's true. I did notice that America lives in a bubble. They do. Like America's our own bubble. We're like so uncultured when we go to other cultures because when we go to other countries because almost every other country, first of all, like, did you know in South Africa they like learn, are there any South Africans here? If so, what's up? I had like a couple of South African friends when I was like overseas in China, but like basically in primary school they learn like three different languages. Like they have their mother tongue and then in school they learn like another languages. So by the time they're in elementary school or like middle school they learn like three or four different languages. And in most other countries though, everybody's learning English. Everybody wants to learn English, as well as their primary language, and then also like are able to culturally understand other cultures better. But American culture is like a mix of a lot of different cultures because colonization and immigration and stuff. We're just a hodgepodge of different. Where it's crazy that we have so many cultures in America, but we're still so culturally Americans are still so culturally bubbled in, even though like American culture is literally a mix of like every other culture. Like it's so crazy. Spiritual reasons and they have real turquoise. What does that mean? They have real turquoise. But yeah, guys, tune in next Thursday, same time, same place. Thanks for hanging with me tonight. And also make sure to drink your water too. Stay hydrated, drink your water. I wish you the best on the rest of your fast. Bulldog Fan 181 as well. And yeah, stay hydrated. Oh, it's a powerful store. Oh, stone. Oh, turquoise. Okay. Oh, they have real turquoise. Got it. Got it. All right, you guys. Have a great rest of your evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And peace to you all. Bye.